Christie absolutely obliterated Marco Rubio at the Republican debate on ABC. Let's watch.
The fact is, Marco, you shouldn't compare yourself to Joe Biden, and you shouldn't say that that's what we're doing. Here's exactly what we're doing. You have not been involved in a consequential decision where you had to be held accountable. You just simply haven't. And the fact is, when you talk about Hezbollah Sanctions Act that you list as one of your accomplishments and just did, you weren't even there to vote for it. That's not leadership, that's truancy.
I think the experience is not just what you did, but how it worked out. Under Chris Christie's governorship of New Jersey, they've been downgraded 9 times in their credit rating. This country already has a debt problem. We don't need to add to it by electing someone who has experience at running up and destroying the credit rating of his state. But I would add this. Let's dispel with this fiction that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is trying to change this country. He wants America to become more like the rest of the world. We don't want to be like the rest of the world. We want to be the United States of America.
That's what Washington, D.C. does. The drive-by shot at the beginning with incorrect and incomplete information, and then the memorized 25-second speech that is exactly what his advisors gave him. See, Marco, the thing is this. When you're president of the United States, when you're a governor of a state, the memorized 30-second speech where you talk about how great America is at the end of it doesn't solve one problem for one person. They expect you to plow the snow. They expect you to get the schools open.
Chris, your state got hit by a massive snowstorm 2 weeks ago. You didn't even want to go back. They had to shame you into going back. And then you stayed there for 36 hours, and then he left and came back to campaign. Those are the facts. Here's the bottom line. This notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing is just not true.
There it is.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
The memorized 25-second speech.
Well, that's the reason why this campaign is so important.
The shame is that you would actually criticize somebody for showing up to work, plowing the streets, getting the trains run back on time, when you've never been responsible for that in your entire life.
Okay. He didn't want to go back.
And the fact is, I went back, it got done, and here's
you didn't want to go back.
I went back. Oh, so wait a second. Is now one of the skills you get as a United States Senator ESP also?
Chris, everybody, you said you weren't going to go back.
The fact is, Marco,
he told everyone he wasn't going to go back, and they had to shame him into going back. And then when he decided to go back, he criticized the young lady, saying, "What am I supposed to do? Go back with a mop?
By the way,
clean up the flood?"
It gets very unruly when he gets off his talking.
Thank you, Governor.
This exchange was so devastating that a variety of different news sites online led with this. And the term Marco bot was born. People were saying, oh my goodness, the Marco bot is glitching. And they're 100% right. I mean, you didn't see all the different examples of it in their little debate here, in the clip here, but Rubio said, let's dispel with this notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's this little stump speech about how he's trying to destroy America, and he knows what he's doing, and it's not incompetence, it's taking us down the wrong path. He has this stump speech. He said it first. You didn't see that there. Then that's when Chris Christie jumps in, and they go back and forth. And then he says it again. Like, the very next time he speaks, you saw one of them there. And then, after this clip ended, they go to Marco again. He says the same thing. He quite literally made the same argument and did the same talking point 3 times in about a 5-minute time span. What are you doing? No, it's true. The Marco bot was glitching. And people who are, heavily involved in politics and know the campaigns behind the scenes and stuff, they've said, no, this argument from Chris Christie is the most accurate attack anybody's ever done in political history, where he says, all Marco Rubio is, he's an empty suit, man. He's an empty suit. You have his advisors give him the exact things that he needs to say, and then he goes out there and says it, and when he's on, his stump speech sounds like something people can get behind on the right, and they're like, yeah, this is our establishment guy here. But when he's off, you just saw it right there, the Marco bot glitched, and then on top of all that, he ended up saying the same talking point again in the second hour of the debate. So he made this goofy point 4 times of, let's dispel with this notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He did it 4 times. And then after the debate, come to find out, he ripped that speech off of Glenn Beck. Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Understand how consequential this was, guys, because Marco Rubio, make no mistake about it, he was the establishment's last hope. You had many, many big money donors in the Republican establishment line up behind Marco Rubio because they thought he's our best shot at having our own little puppet and defeating Trump, who's fucking unhinged. And with this debate performance and just how badly he imploded, now the big money's like, what the fuck are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? What, are we going to line up behind John Kasich? I mean, he might do okay in New Hampshire, but for a national election? I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy. I mean, Chris Christie's an option, but he just started with this straight shooter, faux mentality that he should have been doing from day one. If he did it from day one, he would have done better in the polls, but he listened to staffers too much, and he tried to play the I will never attack any Republicans game, only Hillary Clinton, and that hurt him to this point. But what are you going to do, line up behind Jeb ? He's not going to fucking win. So you're Fucksville. You created the Trumpenstein monster, and now you can't fucking control him, and no establishment candidate's going to top him because your best shot at that completely folded under pressure. And then also there's this other added dimension to it as well. Marco Rubio, he's also just gone way too far right to be the establishment fallback. Like Mitt Romney and John McCain, who got the nomination the last 2 times around, they were the establishment fallbacks in their races. And what happened? Well, when they were on stage, they might have been more extreme than they were in the general election, but they were by far and away the most moderate in their primaries. Marco Rubio has been trying to stake a position further and further and further right, and that's only going to shoot him in the foot in the long run, man. I mean, we're going to do a story later how he said that if a woman's raped, you should have the baby. We're going to force you to have the baby. It's not going to be your choice. How are you going to make that argument and then expect to win a general election, dipshit? No, he doesn't know what he's doing, man. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He's fucking glitchy Marco bot over here. He's sweating. He's clammy. Chris Christie's fucking running circles around him. Let me tell you something. The biggest beneficiary of what you just saw right there, that back and forth, Donald Trump. Because now what are you going to do? The establishment is going to need to rally behind a certain candidate. All the other establishment candidates are going to have to drop out and back one candidate, and even then you got to cross your fingers and just hope that that person can override Trump, and it doesn't look likely.